Hello everyone, my name is Omon Odike and you're watching Omon's Couch. Please keep watching. Today, I have the privilege of introducing a truly remarkable individual with a wealth of experience in the small and medium enterprise and non-for-profit domains. Our guest today has demonstrated visionary leadership like no other. As the CEO of AL Foundation, an organization dedicated to promoting health, entrepreneurship, environment and leadership through brand, she has made a significant impact. Her exceptional accomplishments have garnered her accolades such as Not-for-Profit of the Year Award at the Sarah CSR Awards. Additionally, she has been honored as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum, cementing her status as an influential figure on the global stage. Let's welcome our guest for today, Osayi Alile. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. Great to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
You look amazing as
you,
always.
thank you.
Please have a seat. Osayi, I'm so happy to have you on my couch.
Thank you for
It's been a
having
long
me.
time. I've been waiting for you to be on this couch,
And I'm here.
So happy. So I'm sure the viewers have heard a lot about your achievements. In fact, when we read your accolades, it was just so long. In fact, I can tell you for free that this is one of the most impressive CVs I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, wow. Even when I thought I knew you so well, but I found that I don't even know so much.
Thank you so much.
But right now, I want us to unveil the person called Osayi Alile. I want the viewers to know you. Who is Osayi? How did you start your journey? How did you start? Because I don't even know where your career started from.
Let me say thank you for having me first. I've been watching all the other people you've had on, and I was like, she's going to invite me soon, I hope.
Well,
And now
thank you. I'm so
it's always
happy.
such a pleasure. I mean, for me, I think it was accidental. It wasn't something I deliberately, especially because my sector is not one of the sectors that people at that time were interested in. So it was.
So have you always been in the non-for-profit sector from the beginning?
I don't remember anything there, but I started working in the bank when I graduated from school. Even before I graduated, because in my family, you had to work. Yes, so I started working from when I was 16. So I think the first bank I worked with was just in my third year in university, when I was in University of Lagos. And then I came back and did youth service.
Definitely not a full-time job, like an intern.
No, an internship, because you can't sit at home. You have to go and find something to do. So I started doing that. And I thought, okay, let me go and do my MBA and come back. Okay. And then go back into the bank. It was a great bank. I mean, people that worked there are still my people till today. But I went to do a master's and realized that was not my calling.
Okay.
I started volunteering somewhere else, and I said, what's this about? They say, oh, it's non-profit sector, is that. I'm like, this is where.
So was it like an NGO?
It was an NGO, but it was also the fact the people I met there, what they were doing, it touched me as a person. But also I realized it was a career for them. But it was achieving two things. You were working, making money, but also doing what you were passionate about. And so I actually changed
your entire focus and direction.
And changed everything. My parents didn't find out till I graduated that I moved from the MBA to an MPA. Oh. And then what are you going to do with that? Because it wasn't a career. But I've looked back and I'm glad I did it. I've enjoyed it over the last few years. And this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
It's very exciting to hear what you just mentioned concerning you had the career to start off with the banking, then you deviated into non-for-profit. So how would you advise the young people who are setting up organizations like NGO, because I know they struggle a lot. Yeah. A lot of them struggle to even understand the concept. Yes. But they have this passion, they want to have give to the economy, they want to have a social impact, but they don't even really know how to go about it, especially with regards to funding and so many other things.
I mean, it's one of those questions you get asked over and over again, but I first of all say to people that once you have the passion and the willingness to do, you've ticked one box. That box is great. And but there's so much information out there now. It's not like when we started then. No, I mean, I could count one or two, only 2 people then that I could look up to. But now there are quite a number of Nigerians that are doing amazing work. And of course, by the time you go to all the other African countries across the world, there's so many people in the social impact space now. But there's information. I mean, we just wrote a book, 4 books actually, on how to start an NGO, talking about fundraising, about measurements, everything that you need.
Are people aware of these books?
Yes, I mean, it's on Amazon now, so they can actually find it. And then, but we have so many things that people do. We even have programs that we have online that's free, that you can come up to and ask questions. But let me tell you, once you know you want to start and you have a vision and your mind is set on, okay, I want to be focused on maternal health, for example. I want my focus to be in a certain area in southwest Nigeria. Then you begin to ask questions. A lot of times we jump into this thing.
So that you have to do extensive research.
You have to do a lot of extensive research. We jump into it thinking that we want to bring a solution to a community, but that's not the solution the community needs, yes. So you have to do a lot of research. You might be passionate about maternal health, but that's not what is important to that community at that particular time. So I tell people you must do the background work and don't just get started and be excited. It's the same thing as running a business.
Yes.
You have to do your
because it has to be sustainable at the end of the day.
You have to write a business plan. You have to know where you're going to, who is bringing the funding. And a lot of times they say, oh, I have some fund. My uncle gave me something to start off with. How long is it going to last for? And NGOs are the worst, social impact, because there's no profit. You might make some money, but it doesn't cover everything. So you have to be very deliberate about how you do things. You have to have a very flexible mind as well, because things change so fast. There might be a problem today that we're trying to solve, and tomorrow is something else. I might be sitting here with you and I'm dealing with something in the office. I get off the phone and they're telling me something's happening in Kaduna, and so many kids are having this one issue or the other, and you have to completely change.
Like the health sector.
Yes, and so it's you have to just be sure it's where you want to be in the first place.
But how do you convince the people, or the sponsors, to give you grants?
Impact.
So, from the beginning, if you have if you have a record, it's easy to ask people for money.
You're not going to ask people for money.
When you don't have the record, how do you get those grants to actually sponsor?
You're not going to ask people for money until you start.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a business. When people tell me, how do you raise money? I'm saying, you have to do something. I have to see something first. Except I totally 100%
So are you saying that they should use their own money?
Yes.
Wow.
If you don't use your money, how am I going to give you? It's the same thing. I tell people you have to go into the community yourself.
You have to invest your own money or get from your family or friends.
The same thing. Family, friends, people that trust you, people that feel, and then sometimes because of the kind of things we're doing, you can use an anniversary or birthday to start off something. So it's a bit easier. When you say, don't buy me presents, I just want this money for this. I want to go and teach children.
That's a beautiful nugget for people to take on.
And people do start off like that. But once you see once or twice, if I come to you and say I'm doing a program in Maiduguri, you've not seen anything. But
so why should I give you money? Count a lot of money and give to you.
If I tell you the impact we are making in Maiduguri, if you hear from the children themselves, you feel more compassion.
So that means there's a lot to do with transparency. There's a lot to do with measurement.
Yes.
It has to be measurable.
Definitely, the impact has to be measured. I have to be able to know that what I'm doing is making a difference. And all that. And then I must see that you love what you're doing. You can't talk to me about what I do and I'm not happy. I might be sad about the issues but I go into the communities happy because I'm looking for solutions. I can see resolve in bringing about the solutions. I can be wearing red today and tomorrow I'm wearing my sneakers. There's definitely no wig on my hair.
No
everything
makeup.
tied, no makeup, and I'm in a community and I'm enjoying it. So you have to love it. You have to enjoy it because you see so much heartache. You have to go back to your house feeling that you have done something good. If not, it's going to bother you. It's going to make you feel so overwhelmed because you cannot solve all the problems.
And I noticed that you picked on health sector, you picked on entrepreneurship, and I think
so we do health, enterprise,
and leadership.
Yes.
So why those sectors?
Because of the SDGs. The SDGs are so big on those. Yes, they're big on the sustainability goals.
Yes.
They're big on that, and so you have to. Because of measurements, you have to also make sure that you're doing things in line with them. So in the next 10 years, 20 years, I can always look back and say, we've done this.
Okay, and I know you've set targets for your for where you work right now, the ACE Foundation, to be able to achieve and do some level of impact, and those things are measurable. So at the end of the year, when we are done, how do you feel? Do you feel you have done so much, or it looks like you're just starting?
Very rarely do I feel I've achieved. Very rarely, because as soon as you think you've done something, more comes your way. So I mean, we just finished our 5th year, and we did our impact assessment. Amazing goals. I mean, we're supposed to reach, I think, 800,000 people. We've done over 3 million people.
Wow.
And I was supposed to have about 30 organizations working
well
with.
done.
We're working with over 100 organizations across Nigeria, and then now 8 African countries. But the work
it still looks like a drop in the sea.
It's like doing nothing. And I'm on the road all the time working, but regardless of what we're doing, there's still so much happening. I'll give you an example. We have a program that we started in the north. I won't mention the town. We went there for enterprise. We wanted to teach the women skills because of maternal health issues and stuff. And we got there, and they have a major issue with boys that have a kind of illness that they have to go through surgery. So that's not what I came for. But when I get to the school,
the needs were different.
Needs are different. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I solve this problem? Because your funding is already budgeted for in the year, you know now.
Yes.
So and
for a particular thing,
yes,
and
you're asking, how do I
see
get
something
funding?
else. Yes.
But when you see, I saw them, I felt to myself, I can't walk away from that. So I have to always go back and say, okay, how do I get funding to go back into that community? Sometimes you have to look for extra
You don't
funding.
reallocate the fund?
You can't reallocate.
Because the board has sat on those figures.
So enterprise is also important. The mothers need it. Because without them, the children
will not have anything.
So you just have to keep on reinventing the wheel, thinking of new things to do, finding new ways of solving problems, and making things, be more deliberate about. Because I could walk away and go back to Lagos and I'm okay, because it's not my community. But when you've seen and you've felt, then you find out, okay, I have to come up with a solution.
And I think for me personally, I feel that everyone should have a social impact-driven initiative.
Yes.
Because from what you're saying, even with all the monies and even all the grants, everything you've done, it's just like a drop in the ocean. Yeah. So, but if everybody does something concerning this at their own individual space, I'm sure that we'll be able to get somewhere somehow. But how do you advise people to actually start off if they don't even know where to start?
We as Africans have always done. We are philanthropic
by culture.
By culture. Yes. I mean, every one of us, we know how our parents lived, even us. Yes. How many people you are sending to school, what you are doing in the community, in the church. So there are always things that we've done. Maybe not in a strategic way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but
organized way.
Exactly. So we've done it. So what I always advise now is that people look for things that are a bit more strategic, more sustainable. So if you don't have the capacity to do it, not capacity in terms of funding, the time to go out there, find someone that is already doing it and support them. Yes. And people can call it your name if you want. Some people will say, but it's not my name. I'm like, yeah, but that program can be called your name. Can be Osayi something. But find something, and also find something
that definitely resonates with me. I personally support different NGOs without having to put my name in anything.
Exactly.
I just give them funds and they run with it.
It's better because they have the capacity more than you
and do. They have the structure.
They have the structure. They can measure it. They can check and make sure. And then if you insist, they can even send you reports at the end of the year. Yeah. So we can all. You're so right. We can all get involved one way or the other.
Well done. Osayi, you're involved in various boards. Give us some insight into the importance of collaboration and networking for driving social impact.
Wow. That's a really good question, because without collaborating and networking, there's no way you can get involved in a lot of boards. It's important to know who's there, what's happening, what are they doing, why it's important, what value you're bringing to the table. And stuff like that. So I think those things do help. But another thing that's very important as far as I'm concerned is the fact that collaboration is key. No one can do it on their own. And by the time everyone comes in, you bring your own skill, someone else brings their skill, we all mix it and match it. I always tell people that you can't do stew with just tomatoes. You have to add all the pepper, so everything, even water is important. So that's what. So in doing that, then when you talk about impact, every one of us the value we bring helps us to get to the next level in terms of impact. I mean, one of the organizations you mentioned was Global Shapers. I remember when Global Shapers was going to come to Nigeria 12 years ago, they didn't plan to come here. And Global Shapers is under the World Economic Forum, and they wanted to start this thing for young people. And they had sent us this newsletter. Oh, we're going to Ghana, South Africa. They mentioned like 5 countries. I could have just walked away, but I sent them a message. I said, I mean, I don't understand.
How can you
Nigeria?
This?
Yes. What's wrong with us? Is there a problem?
Oh, they didn't pick Nigeria.
No, they didn't plan to come here. They didn't just think it was necessary, that it was something that we needed at that time. And I was like, why not Nigeria? So the guy was like, oh, we didn't think it was necessary. We don't know who's going to do it. I said, I can do it. It's not going to take time. He said, no, it's going to be a lot of work because you're going to start. It's almost like starting a new business. I said, but I can do it. And you see, so that's the value I brought to the table. And every one of us, I gathered a few young people.
To be able to execute the project.
Yes, and it's been running on its own now for 12 years, doing their own thing. And they have their own curators.
So did they go back to those other countries?
They did. But I mean, Nigeria is still one of the best. We're still
I
one of the best.
can imagine. We take it and we run with it.
We run with it. If I will catapult with it.
Yes.
We're still doing well.
And what I noticed about collaboration, because even when you said you went to the north, sometimes you will need some local companies to actually support 100%. You to be able to execute properly. 100%. There's no way you will know all the nuances or everything about that society or that community.
I mean, look at the big players, Bill and Melinda Gates.
Yes.
They don't go anywhere without other people.
Oh, yes.
Yes, even as much funding as they have, they always ask people to bring
the local communities.
Yes, because the local also, and that's why we call it, now everybody's looking at the local content of anything, because we know what we need. A lot of times, years when we started, we were always looking at the global north and saying to us, oh, we want them to come and save us. Nobody's going to come and save us.
Not at all.
I mean, we saw it at the pandemic.
Issue. We know how to resolve our problem.
The pandemic, we had to solve it by ourselves. You know, so this thing.
And you're in the forefront of that also.
Yes, and it's tough, but it was worth it at the end of the day. Yes.
Interesting. Well done. Well done. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are listening on how we can actually start a social impact organization, how you can actually take the first step, and the first step starts with you having the passion, having the as you said, you have to invest your own money. You don't have to wait for somebody, so that you can have a track record to show to those people or those organizations that you want to receive grants from, because they need to see that you're being involved in something, so that they will be free to, I guess, to fund.
Yes.
And I think that gives some level of security, that gives some level of integrity, that also gives
confidence
some
as well.
of confidence that you will be able to
trust is
to
important.
deliver in social impact grants.
I mean, trust is important. People must trust that you're doing what you
say you are going to do.
You're going to do,
not taking the money and running away.
Because it happens, and it's easy to do.
It happens a lot?
A lot of times. It happens a lot.
Have you experienced any of that?
Many times. You see, with my own funding now, we have 0%, thank God, everything knocked, of people that have not been able to achieve what they want. But we've seen it happen.
And I guess it's because of your due diligence and the process you take.
I am a perfectionist to the core when it comes to this. You can't work with me and not have some things in place. Even if you don't have it, we'll help you to get it. Because it also gives you some level of trust for you trust me as well.
Yes.
And
it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing. But it does happen. The sector is one of the sectors that people look at and say, they really doing anything. But people do a lot of work. And we have quite a number of people that are very strong and have been doing it for years with even their own funding. I have an organization that's worked over 15 years in the community without anybody's funding. We gave them the first external funding, yes.
Wow. How are they able to sustain it?
Community.
Wow.
Because they see what they do and they appreciate what they do. So the community has always funded them. Big programs, small programs, they funded. So people that have left the community, like, you go back home.
Done well. Then you invest your money back into your community.
So we were first proper formal grant they got, so we had to help them with their books and everything. But it gives you joy when you see that, because you can see that they are invested into the program,
with
everything. So it's easy for those people. When they get money from you, they want to do much more.
Yes, more than even what you've given them. That's interesting. You're the first person who we had on the couch who has spoken, or first guest, who has spoken about social impact.
Oh, great.
Because, I mean, when you talk about business,
you don't look at it
people
like
need
that.
to look at the other side and see that you can actually contribute to the economy and contribute. In fact, the impact is even a lot more. Because you're talking about from tens to thousands to 1 million at the end of the day.
I mean, it's a major. I mean, you know, because for us here in Nigeria, we don't. It's getting more important, but it was not like this before.
Yes, it wasn't.
I mean, anywhere else in the world, it's the tech
has
sector.
Always been there.
Oh yes. I mean, the big players anywhere in the world.
You already have the CSR program, and
you are doing it. You're investing in it. People know that this is what you're about. So we're beginning to change that mindset, telling people that you need to be more strategic about doing it. It's important for us to get involved.
I think it has come to stay, definitely. Just like technology has, I think
it's here.
The CSR has come to stay. I mean, we need it more than anything.
We do.
We definitely need it. Well done.
Thank you.
Done. Okay, what are the challenges and opportunities that you see in the social impact sector?
I mean, like any other sector, there's so many challenges and quite a number of opportunities. Let me start from challenges and I'll end with the opportunities.
No problem.
One of the challenges I see, apart from, you know, every business funding and all those things, is the perception of who an NGO is or who an NGO person is. Okay. And for me now, I mean, I'm a senior fellow at LBS talking to people that are just starting their careers. Okay. And one of the things I teach and talk to them about is that you must look at it as a business. A lot of times in the past.
And why do they have to look at it as a business?
Because it's a business. You might not be making profit that you're
more
going
of
to
the
spend.
Sustainability.
And then also because you have to have it. It has to be sustainable in the long term. And if it's not, then what are you doing it for? There's no need. Just pack your bags and just go home and go and rest. But when you look at it as a business from the beginning,
okay.
Like if I start an NGO today, I start it from a place of what's my profit and loss. I look at the books. I never think of the passion and beauty. I'm looking at only the books. I look at my bottom line. My bottom line is more important to me than anything else. And you must understand.
So they should have a business plan like every other business.
Oh, definitely. I've just done a 5-year plan for my organization. So you must have a bottom line. You must understand it as a business. I mean, I've gone to school many times. I've just finished. I'm doing a course now at UPED just on NGOs and strategically how you understand and how you run a business as an NGO. Yes. So you are continuously learning because things are continuously changing. So a lot of times people start it and just sit down and just be enjoying it. As someone said, it's like starting a church.
I'm waiting for the followers.
I'm waiting for people to bring the money, but it's not like that. Because of the impact you're making, what you're doing, how you're doing it.
The resources are being used.
And then it's people's money.
Yeah, okay.
They've given it to you because they trust you. You must be able to account for it. And a lot of times we don't want to account for it, but you have to account for it.
Why won't you account for it?
It's like, you know, people just feel, oh, my uncle has gave me money to start a business, so let me just enjoy. There's no
then they're in the wrong business.
Yes, it's a business. And then I also think that in terms of thinking in the future, of even for yourself, and that's one of the things, when I came into the sector, one of the things I said to myself was that even if it was a new sector, I wanted to be the best at it. It didn't matter to me if it was important to you or not. This was my own journey. And I've always done that in my own life. Wow. It's my journey. And people say, but NGO, what are you going to? In fact, the first time my dad was like, how can you leave the bank? Because the bank says, well, just start
I know.
Why are you leaving it to? I said, this is my journey. It's my life. It's what I...
And look at what it is now.
I said, I'm going to succeed. There's nothing that's going to stop me from succeeding. If they're talking about non-profits or social impacts in Nigeria, even in Africa,
your name must be mentioned.
And it's been, and that's what I've worked towards, because I've treated it like a career and as a business. So even from the beginning, I remember that when I first came back and at the first meeting I went to, I looked around the room, I thought to myself, why is everybody looking so sad and so,
why?
So poor? Because, you know, in our mindset of NGOs, we came to beg. It's a begging thing. Oh. Yeah, so, you know, and once you beg, you know, there's a weight it puts on you. Man, I beg with dignity. I beg for money, but I do it with dignity. Because I'm not begging for myself.
That's a good
I'm
one.
begging to change. So it's not about
great impact.
No, I'm not using to buy myself things. I work hard and make sure that I do everything that has to be done to make sure it succeeds. So once you do that, you find out that you begin to have respect in the community. They know they trust you. You know you're not spending their money anyhow. They know you have gone, you understand it. Yes. So they value your value.
So you've equipped yourself with knowledge, a lot of knowledge.
You just got to do it. Even if you think you're doing it as a hobby, you must read about it, you must understand it, you must know who is in the sector, who is playing the game with you, so that you can walk into a place and you know that there are 4 organizations that are vying for the same amount of money you are vying for. I know there's no CEO I do not know in the sector. Even if they are vying for the same amount, I know what they are doing, I know how they are doing it. And I know who has come and who has left.
There's competition in the
Definitely,
market.
The competition is high, and then the money is thinning. It's thinning away. There are more things. People have more things that they're dealing with that is important to them. They feel is more important to them.
That's organizations, individuals.
We as human beings, there's so many things that we think, okay, if I was given this amount 2 years ago, now my children and if you look at the state of our economy now.
Yes, very bad.
So, I mean, if you had money to give to an NGO last year, you're looking at
cutting the budget or just removing it out of the budget
yes,
completely.
you remove it out. So those are things that are happening over and over again. And so the global south, which is us, are suffering for it. And so we're looking inwards and say, what can we as Africans do different? How can we plug in our money and bring it into Africa and spend it here? And so those are the conversations.
So those are the innovations and to sustain the organization.
Yeah. But the positive is that so much is happening.
So much is
and
happening.
There's
so much impact.
The respect for the South is getting better. People are looking at us and wanting us to be at the table because we need to make the decisions for ourselves. You can't come into someone's home and tell them how they should be, how they should raise their children. You can't do that.
Oh, no, not at all.
But it's always been done like that. They tell us how we should spend the money, who we should spend it for, and how we should do it. But we're telling them now, no.
The narrative has changed.
It's going to change because there are people that understand now. You can't put me on the table and I don't have a voice. It's impossible. I'm telling you that this is not how it works anymore. You tell us what
so
you have.
Even when you're receiving the money, you dictate
the pace. I dictate to you what I'm not going to take your money if it's not going to be beneficial to me. No. So we're dictating and people are becoming bold and dictating and sitting down.
Like even if we are getting the money.
I know it's your money,
yes, but this is what we need to do.
This is what we need to do.
And this is what people need,
and this is how we need to spend it. And let us do it together. Don't bring in people from the north and tell us how to, and then tell us that you're spending so much money on them while we have people that are capable to do it here. So our conversations are changing, and that's where the positive.
And I think that's the beauty of the social impact now.
Yes,
the narrative.
And that's the beauty of collaborations as well, and networks, because it's opened our eyes to see that it can be done in a better way, and it can be done because you see, when you go and have these meetings, you know how these meetings go. When they feel that they're doing you a favor, you are getting the short end of the stick. But when you walk in with capacity, and you're telling them
the boldness and the experience.
Are you joking?
Yes.
We've done this now. We know this thing.
We know what we want.
We know what we want. Then they begin to lean back and then they
listen.
And they bring you better. They bring you more to the table after some time. It makes it easier. And so it's easier for all of us because we all want impact. We all want results. So we're all going to bring the results together. Collaboration is key. And all those things are
working together.
Yes.
Well done, well done. Social impact, I think that's the way to go. That's the way we can solve a lot of all the problems. The government cannot do everything.
No, they can't.
That's obvious.
The private sector can't do everything.
And the private sector cannot. Wow, thank you so much, Osayi. I don't think we've heard a lot, and we have had a wonderful time having you on the couch. I've learned a lot from you today. just knowing all the different programs you've been having or been doing, it's unimaginable.
Thank you for inviting me. You know why? Because you said it. The social impact, that space is not regarded.
Yes.
So
it needs its own. It needs its own table.
Yes.
It needs to be loud. In fact, we need it more than ever.
And the storytelling has to be different.
Yes.
And we have to tell our story by ourselves.
Yes. And I like the fact that you've been so innovative all through your journey, because it's obvious that you've been changing a lot of narratives and a lot of ways they've been executing those social impact programs.
There's more.
Yeah. Oh, there's more. There is more.
More is coming.
More to come.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Well done. What do you do for fun when you're not working or saving the world?
Spa, and I love to dance.
You love to dance. Okay, let's have some music.
Do you like dancing?
Oh yes, I love to dance
so
a lot. A lot. In fact, that's part of my exercise.
Oh, good.
Yes, I don't really do exercise, but I do dance.
You dance?
Yes.
I know Nigeria, our music is good now.
Okay, let's go. Let's dance.
Are you sure?
Yes, unavailable.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
don't they see? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching this episode of Omo's Couch. If you would like to see more inspiring content like this, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The handle is Omon Odike. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel